everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of A Tribute to Mastery. This is the Painter once again, and today we are celebrating 1,000 subscribers. Wow, this is really awesome. I only started this channel, making videos on it, a couple of weeks ago, and we're already up to this milestone, and it gives me a really good feeling about the future. So I thought that today we would just go ahead and use everything that we've learned, plus some stuff that we've already known in the past, and use them to create a really nice masterpiece. Bob Ross has done similar stuff in the past in his episodes, where at the end of a season, he'll take everything and he'll create something, like a big thing with it, using everything that we've learned. It's sort of like a final test, in a way. And that's kind of what we're doing here. So this is going to be a completely original painting by the painter. So our first step obviously is going to be to get the canvas ready. But this episode, because it's not a regular tutorial, I will not necessarily be forming it as a regular tutorial. And you know what? That's fine. I will see you when we're ready to actually begin. Okay, and we're of course only using the same 6 colors we normally do, but because this is a normal tutorial, I'm not gonna go out of my way to list them or anything like that. Okay, what I'm wanting to do is a sunset type thing, so first things first, we're going to get some red and some yellow, and we're gonna mix them together, make this orangey color. If you haven't noticed, this is a much larger canvas than normal, so wish me luck. And of course, there's something that I should probably address. After looking back on some footage of mine, there is what I can only describe as the strange creature, the strange disturbance that seemed to happen in the last episode. If you watched it, remember the entire time it felt very strange, like something was missing. Well, I think I know what that might be now, or at least a general idea. I don't know the specifics. I don't really know much. All I know is it's something, and so far it has not seemed to be dangerous or anything like that, so I'm not too concerned. But whatever it is, I'll have to keep an eye out, and frankly, I would appreciate it if you do as well. Especially if it doesn't appear, because last time that happened, that was not fun. It was a weird experience. I almost wonder why it's here, or what it's doing, or why does it specifically like to go and hang out in my videos. Very strange. And makes me wonder what'll happen if it keeps showing up. Oh, there it is. Oh my gosh, it's right there. It's almost hard to look directly at it, but it's the first time I'm really acknowledging it, so I really hope that it either can understand me, or if it can, if it's not upset that I now know its presence. I come in peace, strange creature. But as long as you're chill, I'll be chill about it too. That's all I'll say about that. You know what? That's okay. I got a little bit of blue on this because of the odd canvas, but that's okay, honestly. You know what? Wanna know why? Because we can just go in here and we can sort of make a bit of a transition. But anyway, once again, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. That's huge. That's so big. That's kind of 1,000 subscribers is about the point where it stops being like, oh, you have a channel. Oh, that's nice. That's impressive. There are so many channels out there that have less than 1,000 subscribers, and I'm so glad that I've hit that milestone. It's so nice. It makes me feel like I'm really doing something good here. I really appreciate all of you. every single one of you. I don't know if some of you clicked it by accident and were too lazy to actually do it, or what, but you know what? I don't really care where you all came from, because you're here now, and it's permanently immortalized in my sub count, and I appreciate all of you so much. It really means a lot to me that I'm able to keep doing this, because people seem to enjoy it, or at least that's what the analytics say. Some of you may have noticed, if you've been looking at the thumbnails, there is a little guy that appears in them very, very often. That little guy, that is, I don't know, if you've probably guessed by now, but that's kind of meant to be kind of like me. Which, it's probably the closest thing you'll get to a face reveal for quite a while. Just because, I don't know, 1,000 subscribers, yeah, it's a lot, but it's not like a huge amount. And most people most faceless YouTubers don't do face reveals until like way down the line. Like, I want to say like 100,000 subscribers, or sometimes if they're really able to milk it, they can do it for like 1 million subs, and then they get 1 million subs, and then you see them, and it's like, oh, okay. And by the way, for anybody wondering, yes, I do know that this is a thing here. That will be corrected in a moment. Just trust the process. Since that we've hit this milestone, I figured I told you a bit about myself in the first video, but it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of you haven't seen it. So I will be sharing some new knowledge, maybe repeating some old knowledge, but just in general, you know, bringing everybody up to speed about who I am. It's nice to know each other. So, I am the painter, as you all know, and I say it in every episode. This is my channel. Age-wise, I am a young adult. I've been painting and stuff for most of my life. Well, doing art stuff for most of my life. Painting is a somewhat newer thing for me. When I say newer, I mean the past couple of years. Like, past few years, I don't know. But I've been trying to take art stuff more seriously and stuff, and get better at it, because it's something I enjoy, and what's the point in saying that you love doing something, you really enjoy it, if you're not actually that great at it? So I'm trying to get better so that I can feel better about it, just for myself and for other people around me. Basically, I've got a ton of reasons to keep doing what I'm doing and to improve like this. So this is a great way for me to do that. We're just going in here and doing our back and forth technique. I will say that doing this series as sort of an experiment has legitimately helped me. Like, it's made things so much better, and just in my daily life, and when just painting stuff other than this, like in my free time, or when I go somewhere and do it, and I'm able to halfway apply those skills, and it's really nice. Who needs college when you got Bob Ross tutorials? As a joke, I am in the midst of college and stuff like that. More stuff about myself. If you can't, I live in the United States, if you couldn't tell from some of the stuff that I talk about. I've kind of halfway grew up watching like animation and stuff like that, so that's also something I really enjoy with art stuff. I hope to eventually become like an actual animator or something like that, or maybe just art in general, but mostly, hopefully, animation. I do really enjoy physical art though. Like, if only I had been born when cell-by-cell animation was more of a thing, maybe that would have been my calling. But yeah, just from that you can kind of tell that I am not like 100 years old, so that is a good indicator of my age, other than just, you know, that I exist in this time. Yeah, I have pet-wise, I've got a cat and a dog, and I mean, I sort of have had others in the past, but it was more that my grandmother, when she was alive, she was, I don't want to say crazy cat lady, because that's a bit rude, but yeah, she had a lot of cats. Like, I think she had like 11 at one point, and I spent a lot of my my childhood at her and my grandfather's house. I spent a lot of time there, and they had the cats and stuff, and I would be over there and hanging out with the cats and stuff, and just in general, just not really thinking much of it, because that was how life was and stuff. And then eventually, my grandmother, she passed eventually, and we have not gotten any more cats since then. I don't think. There are some of the cats are still alive. Some of them passed. We've got a couple of them left, though, at least at her house, which is now just my grandfather's house. But enough about that. I would say that I really like both dogs and cats, but just from a practicality standpoint and actually having them, I would say I'm more into dogs. Like, I do like cats. I like cats a lot. They're nice. I like cats. However, they aren't so easy to take care of. Especially if you don't have a super humongous space for them to run around in, it can get messy really, really fast. And frankly, that's not something that I really like to deal with. I love my cat to death, but she is messy. People talk about how dogs are messy. Cats are worse. At least dogs go outside. Cats poop in a box. People are like, they're so neat because they poop in a box. And it's like, no, and then they poop in the box, and then they get cat litter all over their paws, and then they trap the cat litter all over their house. Which, makes me sound like I hate cats, but no, I like cats. Cats are cute. Frankly, I think cats in general typically are cuter than dogs. But that's because, dogs don't necessarily need to be cute to be awesome and loved. While cats, most people that love cats love them because they're super cute and stuff. Which dogs, they can be trained and can be, a ton of different stuff. While cats, you're lucky if you can get the cat to acknowledge you whenever you say its name. Or you're lucky if you're able to get a cat to look at you or come over whenever you try to get its attention. You're really lucky if you're able to get that. Pretty much any cat owner will agree. Cats are mean too. Not all of them. Even the nice ones. I have a real sweetheart of a cat. She's so nice. But she does have a tendency to, if I try to touch her, she will very, very quickly, most of the time it's fine, but if she rolls onto her stomach, that's a trap. If she rolls onto her stomach and she exposes it towards her belly, do not try to pet her. She will absolutely 100% start biting you and holding onto you with her claws and stuff, and just in general, not be the greatest pets ever. She's a sweetheart, but I don't know if she's just understimulated and needs lots of attention or whatever. But she is a bit mean when it comes to that. I love her to death, but she's mean sometimes. She likes to use my bed as a scratching post a lot, and she likes to use me as a scratching post. My hand specifically, whenever I can. I remember after my first week of having her, my hand was absolutely just covered in little red marks and stuff from all the places that she'd been scratching me. I don't know if she's bored or what. Not even like she's aggressive. No, she's a sweetheart. She loves getting pets. She's very vocal. She absolutely will go up to you and just meow at you until you pick her up. And then she will sit on your lap and she will knead your lap. She'll knead on your legs and stuff. Dig her claws in. She's nice. She's awesome. She's kind of awesome. She's a very, very sweet cat. One of the best litter cats that I could hope for. But then again, she's also kind of hostile sometimes. I think she's more just bored and likes to play, and she just likes to be rough. Or she doesn't care that it hurts, because she knows what she wants. I did have a couple of dogs growing up too. Sort of. There was a couple of family dogs relatively young, but one of them was named Browner, and she was a brown dog, of course. She was very smart. She would get herself stuck up in trees, which dogs aren't usually supposed to do, but she did it anyway. And for most of her life, she was able to get herself down relatively easily. It's kind of impressive. She would like get up and she would see somebody and she would go up the stairs and go up to the top window and she would look down at them and she would bark at them. That was of course until she eventually passed. May she rest in peace. She was a good girl. Very good girl. And now my childhood dog, who is actually still alive, not the one that I mentioned when I said I have a dog, because let me explain. So when I was 6 years old, I remember distinctly that I was 6 years old because I remember being in first grade, and one of our assignments was we were cutting out some paper, making a paper craft, and part of it was, if you have no pets, you have to make it this color, and if you have one pet or more, make it another color, so on and so forth. I remember making it one color, and then that night we went and we got a dog. So the next day I remember distinctly being like, hey, can I redo that, because I got my answer just changed because I just got a dog, which is, not something that usually happens, but hey, it did for me, so it was nice. But about the dog, his name was Biscuit, and he's a very good boy. I named him after the book series about the little golden retriever dog, I think it was, whose name was Biscuit. And I really liked those books, so of course I named my dog Biscuit. I mean, he kind of looked like it. Definitely not the same type of dog or anything like that, but he looked enough like him that it was understandable, I guess. At least from a parent's perspective. I think my dad just went along with it because he liked seeing me happy, and it was like, okay, you can have to name the dog whatever you want. And so I went with Biscuit and was like, okay then, I guess. That's what I would assume. But he's a pretty smart boy. He's very quiet, except unless he thinks that you're abandoning him. Like if you leave him alone at the house, you'll just hear this "oh wow wow" big bay, because he's a beagle, and beagles are hunting dogs and they can get loud. Not as loud as huskies, but they can get loud. They don't bark, they bay, and it's kind of amazing to see and hear. However, he's usually very quiet though, so you don't usually get the chance, which is a little bit sad, but you know what, it's okay. It makes it more special when it actually happens. And he's still alive, like I said. He's an old boy. And the reason I didn't mention him when I said pets was because once my grandfather got to a certain age and needed some extra loving, I gave Biscuit to him, because Biscuit always just loved when he came over and they would hang out, and Biscuit loves to have his chest rubbed, and my grandfather, he's the one that Biscuit was able to, sort of depend on for that. He'd go over and present his chest, and my grandfather, he'd just do it. Very well trained well trained grandfather. So of course, eventually I gave the dog to him, because I knew that Biscuit's getting old, and so I figured that, it's a few years ago at this point, Biscuit was getting to be really old, and so I just decided that it would be best if Biscuit went to live with him, because great friends. It's not like I never see Biscuit. Anytime that my grandfather decides to drop by the house, I get to see him. He's a good boy. He's always happy to see me and the family and all that. Now, any other family dogs, my grandmother had a Chiweenie, which was still alive, but she's the dog, she's very, very old. Like very old. Like a little bit younger than me, I think. So she's very, very old. Very old. Which is a little bit sad, because it's, it's a family dog, and feels like part of that, if something were to happen to her, then it feels like something would happen to that part of your childhood, which is kind of sad. But we still love her. Her name is Belle, and she was always I don't know, it's hard to describe. She's always just kind of Belle. She's a good girl, but she is pretty lazy dog. Used to being pampered and stuff, as most dogs are. Like Biscuit also is very used to being pampered. He's very lazy. He just wants to sleep all day, which isn't even an age thing. He's always been like that. But enough about my own childhood. Oh my. Here and now, my plans for the channel, I would say I'm gonna keep doing Bob Ross stuff, or at least for the summer, and eventually I plan on switching over to maybe someone like Pablo Picasso or Da Vinci or something like that, or maybe someone like, I'd have to do a bit more research. An artist I do like is Salvador Dali, so maybe I could do some stuff inspired by his work. But it'd be great to like learn some new techniques and all that, especially because this wet on wet stuff that Bob Ross does is very different than usual painting stuff. But it does let you get some pretty sick stuff out in like an hour. He's able to do it in like 30 minutes, which is pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. But I primarily plan on just keep on chugging along at the pace that I'm going, and because so far it seems to work relatively well. It's nice. I've said it a few times in other videos, but doing stuff like this is a great way to see the outdoors, but also you gotta keep in mind that the actual outdoors is right there. So if anybody's watching this that is has been cooped up in their house for however long, take this as a sign to just go outside and smell the clean air, maybe do some yard work or go on a walk. Or what I'm trying to get at here is just that many people stay inside all day and don't do much else, which honestly is kind of disappointing because there's so much out there that you could just go out and do, but so many people don't, which is, it's a shame, really. Future plans for myself, well, I plan on finishing college and stuff and continuing to work on this, hopefully make enough money from doing YouTube stuff that I'm able to make a career out of it, which would be awesome. Seriously, super awesome. Not a guarantee, obviously, but pretty close. These trees kind of remind me of the Lorax a little bit, with the big truffula trees. They're not quite truffula trees. They're supposed to be like cherry trees, like you know, from Japan. Like that's what these are kind of meant to be. They may not look quite like cherry trees, but that's okay. One thing I noticed when making stuff like this is sometimes it feels like some of the branches aren't quite realistic enough. Then you realize after a bit that the reason that it looks like that is because branches are not thick enough. They need to be thicker, like coming out like this and all that. Just like this. But enough about the painting, that's not the point of this video. Sometimes I worry that maybe I need to practice more before putting stuff like this on the internet, but then I look at the views I get and how many subscribers I already have, and I think that maybe as long as I keep doing this and practicing, I'll do okay. Which is something more people need to do. Like, people will oftentimes, like, they'll talk about how, art is something that's learned. That's something, not learned. Art is something that's, it's a talent that some people have and some people don't. And therefore, I could never be good at art because it's just not in my nature. But dude, like, that's just not true. Mostly because I have seen people on YouTube and stuff, or on whatever social media platform, and they're actually a surprisingly good artist, and then you look at their oldest stuff and it's not very good. Like, it's legitimately, like, you can tell it's beginner stuff, but then but that's that art stuff. But then you look at when it was posted, and that was like, what, just like 4 years ago, and it's like they went from a total beginner to one of the best artists I've seen on the platform in only a few years. That is impressive. And plenty of people could do that. They just need to apply themselves, which is something that a lot of people say, I know, but it's true. It's something you enjoy doing, and just do it. if art is something that you want to pursue or have any sort of interest in, I would highly recommend doing it. There are plenty of videos on the internet of people going from absolute beginners to actual, like, legitimately impressive, at least technically impressive artists in what, like a few months? It's legitimately amazing what you can do if you put your mind to it. My own personal art journey is kind of a culmination of a bit of natural talent, but also just in general sort of doing it, and all of a sudden you're making stuff, and it's just wow. It's an easy way to impress people. Picking up art is a lot like learning an instrument. Like, there's some stuff that can be impressive to other people, even if for many art people it's not actually that big of a deal. There's also people that you think, oh, you're doing pretty good, but then you go on the internet and you look at other people and you suddenly think they're doing way better than you are. But you gotta remember that everybody learns at their own pace. So even if it takes you like a year to do just something relatively simple, that's okay, honestly. And you shouldn't let other people tell you different, because honestly, most of them don't know what they're talking about. Most of them have never done art a day in their life. And if they have, then they're just being a sore loser. Because honestly, you're probably way better than they were when they were at your skill level. So if there's any artist haters in your comment sections, then frankly take it as a compliment. You know, the internet has kind of made a lot of people feel just inadequate, which is kind of sad. Because, like, you'll see people that are just doing amazing things at such young ages, and it can be discouraging. But honestly, I say that you should take that and you should use it as a sort of fuel so that you will continue to get better. Because, oh, well, that guy's so, like, half my age, and he's doing so much, and, like, I could never do that. I hate it. I'm gonna be mean on the internet because I don't like that guy because I'm jealous. Well, that's not somebody you want to be. Nobody wants to see that. So frankly, it's best to use that feeling of, oh, they're so much better than I was or they're so much better than I am, or anything like that. It's good to take that energy and put it towards actually getting better instead of, being upset about it. I'm just saying it because there are a lot of people out there that kind of need to hear it. Just because some lady on the internet is a really good artist, that doesn't mean that you should give up because your art's not as good as hers, or anything like that. Keep going. Maybe one day there will be people that think the same thing about you because you're so good. Who knows? Like take me for example. I'm doing this, and my art's not the greatest, but I do it anyway because it's something I enjoy, and I want to practice that and get better with. Not because I'm trying to become the greatest artist you've ever seen, but I want to be good enough to impress myself and to look at it and be able to say, you did good. But there is something you have to remember with that, because everyone is their own worst critic. Like, you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see, but there's somebody out there that's gonna look at it, look at you, and think, wow, that's amazing. Or with art stuff, like, you might think, I'm actually very much guilty of is I'll have an art piece and I'll look at it and I will know every imperfection and every single way that I could have done better with it, or every way that I was lazy or anything like that. I will know all my imperfections, so I will think that it's bad. But then you show it to somebody finally after however long, and they'll say that it's really good. Like, you realize that all the stuff that you thought about it, sure, art is subjective, but like I said, art is subjective. It all that comes down to the person viewing it. A wise person once said that nobody but you knows about every time that you failed, or something like that. Basically, just that put on a performance, everybody's gonna clap and cheer because they saw you succeed. They're not gonna know all the times that you failed or all the times you did a misstep or anything like that. Nobody is going to know that except for you. And you should use that to your advantage. So yeah, when you look at my paint, so if you're somebody that looks at my paintings and thinks, how does she do it? Or my art will never be quite that good, just pick up a pencil or a brush or whatever you have and just do it. Like, it's not that difficult. You just kind of just gotta do it. Like, the absolute hardest part of anything art related is getting started. Like, for anything, honestly. Even like for me, like getting started, getting everything ready and getting the recording and all of that all ready and just preparing to do it is the hardest part of it. It's not actually doing it or getting over adversity or anything like that. No, it's the actually doing it that is the hardest part. And then once you've gotten that far, then well, it's that much easier to finish it. And then by the end, when you take a big bow and everybody's clapping and cheering, you'll hardly remember all the struggles that you had up until that point. Or maybe you will and you'll use them as a sort of fuel to keep going. Either way, you're doing a good job and I'm proud of you. I don't know what sort of struggles you're having, person watching this, but you're doing a good job. The fact that you got up out of bed today, assuming you did, that's pretty awesome. Not everybody can say that they did that. That makes you better than that part of the population. And something you also gotta remember is that because people only see the finished product, they don't see the behind the scenes. If something is bothering you, or if a specific technique is too difficult, or something like that, there's nothing saying that you can't just do something slightly different for that specific part of it. Almost no one will be able to tell the difference, especially if you don't tell them what to look for. Like, if you're color theory is a big example of that. Like, if you're painting an apple and you use green for the shadows for the contrast, most people won't be able to notice that it's green unless you explicitly make a video about it. And that's when people will be like, wow, that's so cool. How do you even do that? That's amazing. And people will think you're some sort of dark wizard or something like that, using some sort of art, sorcery, black magic to be able to do that, which honestly, that's actually not that far off from the truth. Art theory is confusing. And I don't know how some people are able to get college degrees in it, or whatever. I guess overall, I'm very glad that I know so much about art stuff, so that I'm able to show it all off to you guys. Speaking of art theory, there's the, you know how a while back, most people's first exposure to art theory, not art theory, color theory, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But a lot of people's first exposure to it was the dress. You know the one. Is it white and gold or black and blue? It's me, I always saw it as like a black and yellow. Where is this painting set? Probably Asia, but I don't know. My personal take with the dress, I always saw it as more of like a, I always saw it more like a yellow and black, honestly. And then I found out that the dress actually was black and blue, and it's like, how the heck is that blue? It all comes down to color theory. Taking a grayish color and surrounding it by other colors can make it seem darker or lighter, depending on what you do with it, which is kind of amazing. Also kind of scary at the same time, if you know what I mean. Like, the fact that the mind is so easily tricked, especially because humans are, frankly, in a lot of ways, a bit too smart for their own good. Like, humans are able to manipulate their own heads so easily. Like artificial flavors and stuff only exist as a way to trick the mind, basically. Like, as a way to make the brain, like, manipulate the endorphins and, not dolphins, endorphins, and serotonin and dopamine and all that. The human brain, the funny thing is with it though is that a lot of people, they do know that they are aware, but their brain, like the thinking part of their brain is aware of it, but the brain itself doesn't. It's almost like they're two separate things. Like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but like let's say you have somebody who, if anything gets close to their face, they flinch. And somebody's like, oh, why are you flinching? There's nothing's gonna hurt you, and they know that nothing's gonna hurt them. But their brain, it just on instinct, it just doesn't, because for whatever reason. And that's the easiest way I can explain how the brain has a disconnect from itself in a way. Also, I'm putting little bushes here next to this house because why not? It's cute. I like it. Little blue flowers. I know I said I wouldn't talk about the actual painting that much, but here we are. These blue flowers or blueberries? I don't know. Like I said, it's up to the person that's actually doing it. Probably blueberries. This is probably going to be one of, if not my longest video. Assuming that I don't end up cutting a lot of this for the sake of time, or because for a lot of this is me painting silently and talking sometimes. But at least recording wise, it's one of my longest videos and also one of my longest edits, which is yikes. But yeah, it's worth it. This is a big deal, you know. 1,000 subscribers, that's huge. I'm adding a fence because I like adding fences. Also, if, by the way, like I've said in the past, but if you have any sort of requests or ideas for who I can recreate paintings, or heck, even other things from next, then I am open to looking at and considering and maybe even doing some suggestions. Seriously. I'm serious. Like, my comment section is always open. You know, when I was younger, I did not watch a lot of stuff that a lot of people in my generation did. Like, I had never even, like, really heard of SpongeBob until I was quite a bit older than, like, most of the kids watching it. Like, I want to say that I was only about 8 when I had actually, like, gained access to that sort of knowledge. Like SpongeBob or Amazing World of Gumball or stuff, you know, stuff that most people my age know about. A lot of that stuff I simply did not know, which is fine. Because, you know, I mean, it's a bit like anybody hears that I've never really watched SpongeBob, they're gonna be like, what? You're lying, get out, or whatever, but it's true. Like, there's a lot of stuff like that I just didn't, like, I grew up watching, like, I watched Phineas and Ferb, and like, My Little Pony was something that I watched a lot when I was in that age demographic. Like, I now remember being in, like, first grade or so, and being, like, actively, like, I had, like, a Twilight Sparkle backpack, I think, and I was a little kid, and I really liked it, and because of that sort of association with it, I don't know if we'll ever be able to see certain shows like that as just regular shows, because, that's another show I haven't seen, regular show, but, yeah, because of those associations, I'll never be able to really see it as how normal people would see shows like that. Because it's like just part of my childhood. It's not just a show for me. It's way more than that. And it's beautiful. Okay, and this is I'm gonna do something here, and I'd like to kind of explain what I'm doing before I actually do it, because it goes pretty fast. I get my fan brush when wet with plenty of this pink paint that I've made. Then I'm going to go here, and I am adding in I am just splattering the paint on. This is a really great way to get stuff like snow. For this, I'm using it to make cherry blossom leaves. It's not perfect, obviously, but it's pretty close, and it's a lot faster than just going at it and adding them all individually. Look at that. You gotta be careful not to get them super way up here, because there's the stars up here, but there's not leaves everywhere. Now, I think that we're about done. So, we're gonna sign the painting like normal. And so, now that it's 1,000 subscribers, might as well talk a little bit about this. This signature of mine, well, this is just my signature. What does it mean? I don't know. You tell me. Well, I bet you don't. Especially like, I don't know. It's not like it has no meaning and it's up to interpretation. But like, you know, if you want to try and guess, or like, is it an actual thing? Is it just an artist thing? It's just my signature. My little art signature. And it's beautiful. It's mine and I like it a lot. But anyway, I think we're going to just about wrap it up here. This is one of the most ambitious paintings I've done in a hot minute, and it's definitely not the sort of thing I normally do, but that's okay because I think it turned out nicely. I like it a lot. So